Today, we are diving deep into something called the digital backbone. We're going to untangle that incredibly complex web of data that holds so many modern industrial companies back, and we'll see how one single connected thread can change pretty much everything. Let's get into it.
So, does this picture feel a little familiar? You know, critical information buried somewhere in a spreadsheet, approvals being chased down through these endless email chains, and your team's just constantly having to do manual follow-ups to keep projects from grinding to a halt? If that sounds like your life, trust me, you are not alone. This is the daily reality for so many companies out there.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, what I like to call the industrial data maze. It's this tangled mess where every single department, engineering, manufacturing, sales, you name it, is kind of operating in its own little world with its own systems and its own data. There's no single source of truth, just these isolated islands of information that don't talk to each other.
So what happens when you're stuck in that maze? Well, your teams fall back on what they know, right? Spreadsheets to track parts, emails for mission-critical approvals, and just constant manual check-ins. This isn't just inefficient. It is a perfect recipe for delays, for really costly errors, and for having absolutely zero real-time visibility into what's actually going on in your own business.
And the cost of all this chaos? It is staggering. We're talking about 30 to 50% higher operational costs, mostly because people are constantly duplicating data and redoing work. And get this, more than 80% of data migration projects go over time or over budget, all because they're trying to stitch together these broken, siloed systems. It's a massive, massive drain on resources. All right, so how in the world do we escape this maze? Well, we need a new path forward, and that path is a concept called the digital thread. This is where we finally start bringing some order to all that chaos. The whole foundation of this new path is something called Product Lifecycle Management, or PLM for short. Think of PLM as the master strategic playbook for your product. It's a system that's literally designed to manage every single piece of information about a product, from the very first napkin sketch all the way to its last day in service. It puts everything in one central place. So if PLM is the playbook, then the digital thread, well, that's like the central nervous system of your entire company. It's the living, breathing connection that links all that data together. It makes sure that an engineer in design, a planner in manufacturing, and a technician out in the field are all looking at the exact same up-to-the-minute information. It creates that single source of truth everyone's always talking about.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a peek inside a real digital backbone. We're going to use Siemens Teamcenter as an example of the kind of technical engine that makes this whole digital thread thing a reality.
So at its heart, a system like Teamcenter has this really sophisticated but kind of beautiful way of organizing data. Every single component, from a tiny screw to a whole engine, gets its own digital file, its item. Every single change or revision to that file is tracked, and all the related documents, like the 3D CAD models, the PDFs, all of it, are linked together in a data set. It's just a wonderfully organized system where nothing can ever get lost.
Now, this is where it gets really, really smart. Different teams need to see the same product in different ways. An engineer needs the engineering BOM, which is all about the functional design. But the folks on the factory floor, they need the manufacturing BOM, which tells them the exact assembly sequence. And the support team, they need the service BOM to see all the spare parts. A digital backbone manages all these different views from one single source, making sure everyone is perfectly in sync.
And hey, remember those messy email approvals we talked about? A PLM system turns them into these clean, automated visual workflows, just like the one you see here. A design change can automatically kick off notifications for review, approval, and then release it to manufacturing, all tracked inside the system. No more chasing people down for signatures.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work? Let's move from the code to creation and look at some incredible real-world proof.
That number you're looking at, 45,000, that's how many users Volkswagen connected across its entire global development network with Teamcenter. They built one unified system to just completely eliminate data silos, making sure that every brand, every supplier had the exact same product data at the exact same time. The scale of that is just mind-blowing.
Now this one from John Deere is an absolute game changer. They used Teamcenter to support an agile development process, and the results were just incredible. An 87% reduction in time to market. This proves that a digital backbone doesn't just store your data, it actually speeds up innovation.
You know, managing all the data for complex engineering simulations can be a total nightmare. Well, Ford Motor Company tackled this head-on and saw efficiency gains of 4 to 8
times. That's a monumental leap in productivity, and it all came from moving away from fragmented tools to one single managed platform. But you know what? The impact isn't just about giant companies. This slide really shows the human side. A company called Unlimited Tomorrow uses this digital approach to create personalized prosthetic arms. The traditional way can take up to a year and is incredibly expensive. Their new process? It's 5 times faster. A child can literally be scanned at home with a mobile app and get a custom, affordable prosthetic that actually fits them. It is such a powerful example of how this technology can truly change lives.
So it's pretty clear the future is connected, but the big question is, how do you get there? Let's map out the path forward.
Here's your basic roadmap. It all starts with being honest about where you are today. Then you've got to define some really clear goals. What do you actually want to achieve? From there, it's about investing in the right tools, making sure they can all talk to each other, and this one's maybe the most important, building a culture where your teams are actually excited to work in these new ways.
So at the end of the day, here's the big takeaway. Stop thinking in terms of isolated, separate systems. The real goal here is to build a true central nervous system for your entire company, a digital backbone that connects everything and everyone intelligently.
And that leaves us with one final, big question to think about. When every single piece of data, every person in your organization, and every process you run are all truly connected in one seamless digital thread, just imagine what becomes possible for you. Thanks for watching.